Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Stonerd/Nerdy Fusion podcast. As you guys know, I am making the transition. If this sounds new to you, go back and listen to the last two episodes. I am changing names. I'm just making a smooth transition. I'm fading in or out, whatever the case is. I'm fading out, I guess, out of Stonerds and into Nerdy Fusion. So, yeah, that's what's happening. And now, let me jump into the episode breakdown. I am going to be talking about Joe Rogan and his Spotify deal and what I think about listening to his podcast on that platform. And then I'm going to talk about doctors. Let's get into it. Let's just start by saying that not only am I the creator of this podcast, but I'm also a listener. I do listen to other people's podcasts, and I guess I could give you a rundown of what I'm listening to, but I don't want to make this longer than it needs to be. All I'm going to say is that I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, and last year, or between the end of last year and beginning of this year, he transitioned to Spotify. But I don't know, am I the only one who is having a difficult time listening to the Joe Rogan Experience on Spotify? I don't believe that I'm the only one having difficulties. It's so glitchy. For example, they mix in video and sound, and sometimes when you go from portrait to landscape on your phone, the video will freeze on you, and then you're left with 2 or 3 seconds of delay. And it's not a big deal, but it's really annoying to me. And I'm wondering if you guys are experiencing something like that. I don't know if any of you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, but ever since he made the move, it's been really annoying to listen to the podcast. The second problem that I find, at first they give you this set of ads in the beginning, which is the normal thing to do. But then, an hour into the conversation, another ad will play. And it's really annoying because they cut the conversation midway to give you this ad. And it's so annoying. I really dislike it. Because sometimes they might be in the middle of a good conversation where they're talking about something that I really want to listen to closely. And then they sort of stick this ad in the middle and it just takes the fun out of it. It would be like you being in the middle of having sex and somebody knocking on your door. And it so happens that you have to answer the door. Or maybe somebody you don't like or you were not expecting calls you and you have to take the call and then they kill your boner. That's pretty much how it feels like sometimes. With Rogan, if you made it an hour in, sometimes they trail off and then they swing back around and say something interesting. So sometimes if you leave, you might miss something. But at this point, I'm just whatever. I'm missing whatever they say after 1 hour. I'm done because I don't want to stick around for that next ad. And I am aware that these content creators need the ad revenue to survive. But for whatever reason, just ads annoy me. I do agree that it is better if they talk about the product that they are endorsing. But when I hear like somebody else cut into the podcast, it just really annoys me for whatever reason. The other thing is that the user experience is not the same. I'm used to going to the Apple app, the Apple Podcast app, and then they give you all the episodes from most recent to oldest in that list form, and you can count to go there and find it. As long as you click on the podcast that you want to listen to, they'll show you all the episodes in that order. But for whatever reason, you go to Spotify and you have to like jump hoops to like get to the episode you want to listen to. And I don't understand why they made it that way. You start listening to something else and you try to come back to it and it's gone. I think the problem is that they're trying to do music and podcast. Because if you just listen to podcasts, you can just leave the app and come back to the app and it will still be there. But since sometimes I want to listen to music, I have to stop listening to the podcast and then go back to music. When I try to come back to the podcast, it's gone. I don't want to speak for everybody. I might be doing it wrong. But in general, I feel like the user interface is pretty shitty. So that's it. The video glitch, going from portrait to landscape mode. The user interface is another problem. And the ad experience is really crappy. We ad coded in the middle of the podcast, what they call in the business a mid-roll. But who knows? Maybe the numbers are working out for him. So let's see what happens with that. And now let's talk about doctors. I once heard that a doctor who graduated at the bottom of his class is still called a doctor. And that's an interesting thought because that's true for most professionals. It doesn't matter if you're a lawyer, a doctor, a plumber, mechanic. There's gonna be people who are really good at what they do and people who are not so good. But they all made it. They all got their licenses. They all got their degrees or whatever. And so you can tell that there are people out there who don't know as much about the subject as other people. Especially I've noticed that because I had the bad luck of running into really bad professionals. I'm talking in general, not just one specific profession. And so at this point I'm like, man, they should really do a better job of screening these people. Especially somebody who has your life in their hands, like doctors. There's so many people I have heard that go under surgery and they say they snipped this, they snipped that, and they were not supposed to, or it doesn't feel right, or it didn't work and I still have the pain or the discomfort. And granted, I'm going to stand an olive branch because I know medicine is a hard thing to do. And also, once you break something, you cannot put it back the same way it once was. So I do understand that fact. It's not like I'm in here just pointing fingers. If you broke your leg or something, it's not going to be the same leg. Although, with bones, they're pretty good at putting bones back nowadays. But I'm saying other things that are more complicated to fix. But maybe a nerve or a ligament, maybe it's a little bit more complicated. So I do understand that fixing somebody that's broken is not an easy thing to do. And no matter what they do, they won't be the same again. Having said that, there are some people that are better at putting people back together than others, or making them feel better. Speaking from my own experience, I remember I had a back injury and I went to this doctor and he called himself a doctor, but I think he just had a chiropractor degree or license. I don't know what the hell. But I went to the place because I'm like, oh, this is the people who do the therapy and do the thing. And I was in such pain that I was comparing it to bearing a child. And every woman I came across, hey, listen, I know your pain now because my back is hurting and oh my God. And for the most part, they would laugh at me because you don't know the pain of bearing a child. But I was like, trust me, when it hurts to poop, I think I know the pain. That's how bad my back hurt. Like, I couldn't poop. Not because I was constipated. It just hurt to poop. But in any case, I went to this guy for 4 weeks. And he couldn't do anything about it. Finally, I switched doctors. And I went to this other guy. Dude, this guy prescribed me a pill. And 3 days later, I was walking upright. Because with that other guy, I was limping. I was hunching over because I couldn't put my back straight for some reason. I used to just like walk limping and just hunched over a little bit, trying to like minimize the pain. I don't know, like, you know, your body tries to accommodate for the pain that you're feeling. So anyways, I'm in there and I go to this guy. Dude, one pill, I swear. I took the one pill that one day and I felt better like an hour after I took the pill. And then by the third day, I was walking fine. And I was like, oh my God, there are levels to this thing. I don't mean to steal that from Joe, but there are levels to this thing. All right? I guess there are levels to everything, but this guy, dude. I mean, I do have another story where that same guy let me down a little bit. And I'm not going to go into that story now because it's kind of embarrassing. But the one day that I went there for my back, this dude, man, he just prescribed me those pills. Those pills got me back up and running. And the only reason I brought this up is because I went past a doctor's office the other day. And outside they had a sign that said something like child and teen medicine. Like, those were the kind of people that they would take in at the doctor's office. And I'm like, what's the difference between that kind of medicine and somebody who's a bit older? I get that you want to specialize. I know there's something very specific about being a pediatrician, because when you're a newborn or whatever, there are a different set of challenges that a newborn faces. So I'm not blaming them for focusing on child medicine, but then they said teen medicine. I was like, man, when you're a teen, you can do 25 and 30 and 40. What has changed, you know? So I was like, man, these people, they just want an easy buck. For the most part, young people are healthy. I don't know how much stuff they see. Like, how bad can teen medicine get? I'm not saying that there aren't cases out there where there's a teenager or a child who has cancer, or maybe they have some other rare disease. What I'm saying is that for the most part, younger people and kids tend to be healthier. Now, if you're dealing with older people, like seniors, you have your work cut out for yourself, because there's a lot of stuff going wrong with them. And so you're going to have a hard time. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that I felt like they were taking the easy route by choosing to treat younger patients. Does that make any sense? I might be talking shit in here. I don't know. You guys judge for yourselves. I don't know. That's it, guys. That's going to be it for today. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.